the ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers. And they're doing it in sections. The European currency, the euro, and the European Constitution is one part of it. Now they're trying to do it in America with the North American Union, right? And they want to create a new currency called the Amero. The whole agenda is to create a one world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash.
Science fiction became reality today. The Food and Drug Administration approved a computer chip that's implanted into people.
The chip would contain a person's medical records. The microchips have already been used to identify lost pets.
This tiny chip can lead to a wealth of information about you. There are other uses. The military is considering the chip to replace dog tags.
Placing a tracking microchip under a service member's skin. Former U.S. Special Operations officers tell us they believe that's being developed.
Sounds like science fiction, but Nick Minicucci is getting a microchip implanted in his arm.
I didn't feel it at all, actually. When you pulled it out, that's the only time I felt it actually leaving.
There's days I forget I even have it.
Molly Phillips is a diabetic. She had the chip implanted in her arm after a medical scare last December landed her in the hospital. Doctors didn't know what medication she was on.
If I'm in that circumstance again, they would scan my arm, pull up my information, and have it right there.
But the FDA approved Verichip implants in humans last year. Since then, 60 people in the Northeast have gotten the chip implant. Advocates say they're concerned these chips could monitor or track people, medical records could be abused, and a person couldn't remove the chip if they wanted to. The Electronic Privacy Information Center's Mark Rottenberg is concerned that there currently are no rules that regulate or limit how this chip can be used.
To suggest that somehow this is not personal information is simply misleading. It is very personal information.
Scott Silverman is the chairman and CEO of Applied Digital Solutions, the maker of the Verichip. Scott, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Lester.
Explain to me briefly what the Verichip is and what it is supposed to do.
The Verichip is a tiny miniaturized RFID, or radio frequency identification microchip. It's 11 millimeters by 1 millimeter. It's about the size of a grain of rice.
Well, we've got one sitting there by a penny to give us a little perspective of the size. Very
Correct.
Tiny. You implant it under the skin how?
It gets injected, just like getting a shot of penicillin or any medicine that you would get in a doctor's office. It goes in the upper right arm, which is the area that our physicians have chosen for ease of access as well as biocompatibility.
And in a minute we'll talk about how you scan it, but tell me what information is on that, why that would be of great use if I show up in an emergency room.
Yeah, on the chip itself is only a unique identification number. And Verichip can be used for the medical application as well as the security or a financial application, or a financial application, or a financial application, or a financial application.
The whole agenda is to create a one world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. All money is to be in those chips.
Well, thanks to the FDA and their diligent work over the last 2 years, we now have the clearance to go to market with both the chip and the scanner.
All right, show me how this works. So you've got a scanner here, and you have a chip implanted. Is it underneath your right arm?
It's in the right arm. You power up a scanner, and you simply scan the arm. And once you scan the arm, you'll see that the identification information.
And on the laptop here you have it hooked up to, it says some number, but that doesn't tell me anything about your health condition. Now, from that number, they access your health records.
Right, that's correct. If you go into further detail on the database about Scott Silverman, it'll have my driver's license information, it'll have medical information, it'll have financial information, and it'll have security information for ingress and egress into facilities.
All right, you hear the sound of the background, people saying, Big Brother, too much information, a little scary.
And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip. And you have nothing. You can't buy food. You can't do anything. It's total control of the people.
I had planned another closing message, but I feel compelled to say what I'm about to say. Now, I risk sounding like a conspiracy theorist, but it's no longer a theory. What I'm about to say is fact. The secret organizations of the world power elite are no longer secret. They have planned and are now leading us into a one-world communist government. The combining of national governments started with the European Union, That union started with trade agreements, then a common currency, the euro, and now a European Parliament that is feverishly passing laws that override the laws of the member nations. A constitution was drafted but rejected by a few of those nations, but never mind. They implemented it anyway. Now it's North America's turn. Building on the North American Free Trade Agreement, the NAFTA section of the Commerce Department is busy drafting laws and regulations for a North American Union, a union of Canada, America, and Mexico. The President has attended secret meetings and signed at least 2 agreements under the Security and Prosperity Partnership Program. Information leaked out about the meetings, and now it is all in the open. No treaty has been signed, so Congress has not become involved. However, money from our Treasury is now being spent for this effort. We will have a new currency, the Amero, and a new constitution, modeled on the Soviet Union's constitution. Our rights will not be inalienable, but they will be granted by government, who can also take them away. One sign that this is our future is the plans for the superhighways from southern Mexico through America and into Canada. These plans are not secret any longer. Huge amounts of property will be taken in the name of free trade, peace, and security. You will have a national ID card with a radio frequency chip in it. That's already law in America and will be implemented by May 2000. This man voted for it. You will not be able to move about freely. This is terrorism of the most worst kind.
I met Rockefeller through a female attorney I knew who called me up one day and said, one of the Rockefellers would like to meet you. I had made a video called Mad as Hell, and he'd seen the video and wanted to meet me and knew I was running for governor of Nevada. So sure, I'd love to meet him. He's the one who told me 11 months before 9/11 ever happened that there was going to be an event. Never told me what the event was going to be. But there was going to be an event, and out of that event, we were going to invade Afghanistan to run pipelines from the Caspian Sea. We were going to invade Iraq, to take over the oil fields, establish a base in the Middle East, and make it all part of the New World Order. And we go after Chavez in Venezuela. And sure enough, later 9/11 happened, and I remember he was telling me how you're gonna see soldiers looking in caves for people in Afghanistan and Pakistan and all these places, and there's gonna be this war on terror, in which there's no real enemy, and the whole thing is a giant hoax, but it's a way for the government to take over the American people forever. And they can do whatever they want. They scared the hell out of the American public. Look, this whole war on terror is a fraud. It's a farce. It's very difficult to say it out loud because people are intimidated against saying it. Because if you say it, they want to make you into a nutcase. But the truth has to come out. That's why I'm doing this interview. It was 9/11 that allowed this war on terror to begin. And until we get to the bottom root of 9/11, the truth of 9/11, we'll never know about the war on terror.
Well, there have been extraordinary scenes in Berlin tonight as thousands of people gathered to hear Barack Obama deliver key foreign policy speech on his current European tour. The Democratic presidential hopeful laid out his vision for America's place in a new world order, saying he was speaking as a proud citizen of the United States and a fellow citizen of the world.
A new world is emerging. It is a new world order.
Are we at one of those moments in history in which there is the necessity for a new world order?
There's a need for a new world order.
This phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order.
I think a new world order is emerging.
When really a new world order can be created.
And the hope that each of us has to build a new world order.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order.